Welcome, everybody, to the Jurassic Park Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Jost, and today I'm going to relay my spoiler-free thoughts on Jurassic World Rebirth, a film that I have now seen 2 times, luckily, before the release date on July 2nd. Again, this is going to be spoiler-free. I'll tell you a little bit about the screenings I saw, a little bit about the movie, and then maybe later on I'll tell you some other things, but not spoilers. Don't worry about that. But, feel free to just skip this episode entirely. You have my permission. It's okay, because I don't want to sway you in any way, good or bad, whatever that may be. I don't want to sway you. And if you're staying away from any and every detail about the movie, I totally understand. So no worries at all if you skip this episode. Come back later and enjoy it after the fact. But again, this will be spoiler free. So let's go ahead and talk about the screening process so far. So I've had the chance to see it 2 times. The first time was via the Screen Unseen showings that they were doing on Monday the 23rd, I believe. And it was one of those scenarios where you just kind of show up to the movie. You're not really supposed to know what the movie is ahead of time. I guess a lot of people do end up figuring out what the movies are if you go check Reddit and other places. But I had heard through some reliable sources that it seemed like it was going to be Jurassic World Rebirth. So I showed up, as did a bunch of other Jurassic fans in the audience. You could tell there were some Jurassic shirts along the way. And obviously a ton of people throughout the community had the chance to go on Monday. But it was just a sigh of relief when Jonathan Bailey and Scarlett Johansson showed up on the screen and said, "Hey guys, guess what? We got a nice surprise for you today. It's going to be Jurassic World Rebirth. I hope you enjoy the movie." So that was really, really exciting. And that was my first showing. And then my second showing was the Collider screening in New York City. So I had the chance to go up there. I brought my son Lincoln with me. And that was the first Jurassic movie that he's seen in theaters. And like I've always been saying for the past while now, that I was really excited to take him because he is 7 years old, and I was 7 years old when I saw Jurassic in the theaters for the first time. So he was pumped, he was excited. I think he came out of there saying it was the best Jurassic movie he's ever seen. But yeah, let's dive into that. Oh, also, before we get to the review, Gareth Edwards and Frank Marshall were there, which was awesome. I had gotten up shortly after the film had ended, and I was like, I'm going to run to the bathroom real quick, come back before the Q&A starts, because Perry Nemiroff was there doing a Q&A with Gareth Edwards and Frank Marshall. And when I came back, who's standing there in the hallway but Gareth Edwards and Frank Marshall? I was like, "Hey guys," and I just kept walking into the theater, and I was like whispering, I'm like, "Hey, they're coming in, they're coming in." And then that was awesome. So we get to hear a lot about the movie and stuff. I do have audio from that. Maybe I'll include that at some point. But yeah, it was great to hear from them about the movie, the making it. There was a lot of spoiler details and stuff that they were talking about. But on the way out, I got a cheers from Gareth. That was nice. And Frank Marshall, we were all feet away from each other, inches away from each other. It was awesome. But let's start talking about the movie itself, because that's why you're here, right? All right. So this is it's a tough one for me to relay this all the way I want to, I feel like. So my first showing, I came out of that showing really digging the movie as far as what I saw, but I had a lot of issues with different items that I won't talk about specifically. But I was like, my sister was there, and she came over, and my wife was there, and my sister's like, "Do you like it?" And I was like, yeah, I think I did. I think I did. I've got some issues, but I liked it. And I think I definitely got in my head quite a bit about a lot of things that were bugging me about the movie. And I don't know. It depends on the type of person you are. If you're listening to this, there's a chance they could bug you as well, but there's a chance that they may not. I feel like the overwhelming consensus is that everybody absolutely has been loving this movie. I've seen a lot of people that didn't like the World movies just loving this movie. But I haven't really, I have seen and heard from a few friends who were like, yeah, that stuff kind of bugged me too. So go in though and just have an open mind to a lot of this stuff. And I think the movie itself, the bones and the structure and the characters and the visuals, everything that was on that screen was pretty great, pretty darn great. Like I really can't complain about the movie itself at all. I think it's just it's 2+ hours, 214, but it does breeze by. It's pretty fast paced. There's a lot of sequences. And I will say one thing that has bothered me over the course of a lot of these Jurassic movies and Universal movies in general, is that they release way too much of the movie via trailers and marketing materials and all kinds of stuff like that. So we had talked about it a lot, I think, leading up to this movie, that they were doing a great job, phenomenal job, really only showing us 2 or 3 sequences from the movie, right? Um, well, turns out that there's not a ton more than those sequences. They are expanded and fairly long sequences, but it just felt like at the end of the day, when the movie started, the credits started rolling, it was like, yeah, I definitely saw most of that movie already. I think this was kind of the vibe I had outside of Fallen Kingdom, and I know, like, I was there with Jennifer Evans and Chris Pugh when we saw that for the first time, and I know they had the similar kind of thoughts as well back then. It was like, man, we saw the entire thing. So I know that's going to be a troubling issue, I think. But that's the thing. That's the kind of thing that goes away after your initial viewing. So I was much more comfortable with that the second time around. And I will say that there were things the second time around that I absolutely warmed up to. A lot of the character moments I really warmed up to the second time around, and I was really on board with a lot of these people that were introduced to, their dynamics between each other and stuff like that. Some things didn't work for me initially, but the second time around, I think I was like catching on to it and feeling it a lot better as far as the character dynamics are concerned. And I will say that the second time around, the audio was better. Like the theater was better. The sound system was better. And I think that played honestly a major role in it altogether, because the first time around, it was like a little quiet. Sometimes you go to your local AMC and it's like a little too quiet. And I'm like, and it wasn't quiet enough where I thought like I needed to go tell somebody. But once I started getting into the movie, I'm like, that's like, I'm kind of missing some of the score. I'm not feeling like the dynamics that the score is bringing to the movie. But the second time around, I was catching all that more. It felt a little bit more comfortable. And I was just vibing with the intro and the characters a lot more the second time around. Everything with the dinosaurs, like all of the sequences that you're there for via the synopsis, right? That the characters are going to get the DNA of the 3 most massive creatures, on this in this place, and that stuff is incredible. And there's really nice touches to those moments I'm not going to talk about, but I was just like loving it, loving these details that they brought, these extra details that they hadn't shown before. So yeah, the 3 dinosaurs are very cool to watch. There's some great details to those dinosaurs. And I think the dinosaurs and the creatures that they brought to life in this movie are pretty great. I was awesome. I was awesome. Yeah, you know it. No, I was really enjoying the mutants that they brought to this movie. Obviously, we've seen the Mutadons in the trailers and stuff, and they've talked about it a lot behind the scenes. And of course, the D-Rex toy, the Distortus Rex. Those 2 creatures really floored me. I thought they were absolutely awesome. And it's a nice, like, there's a lot of creatures in this movie, but it does feel a little bit more refined than maybe Jurassic World Dominion or even Rebirth and I guess Jurassic World, but like it feels a little bit more refined than those, so that's pretty cool for me. I'm the one who keeps saying I just want a movie about a singular dinosaur. So yeah, but I really liked all of the dinosaur action that was in this movie. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where to go next. Let's see, what else did I like? The score the second time around sounded great. And there's a lot of a lot of influence in there, I think, and a lot of new stuff, obviously new stuff, and it feels at times the score feels unlike Jurassic, but in a good way. And then very Jurassic, yeah, in the best way possible. So the score sounds great. I cannot wait to hear that full thing on its own without the movie over top of it. Um, what else? What else can we say? CG looked great. Everything looked fantastic. I had no issue with anything really in that movie at all visually. And the island, the place that we're at, it is unlike anything we've ever seen, like from a Jurassic Island. So that is amazing. It's fantastic. I think everybody's gonna love those details. So yeah, it's true, but it's unlike anything we've ever seen, but it does feel very Jurassic. There's moments in this movie that give you vibes of like The Lost World, but also JP3, and it's capturing those Jurassic vibes so well, while also sprinkling in like Skull Island vibes and things like that. So I think Gareth Edwards did a phenomenal job with just coming in here last minute and kind of giving us a pretty great, I think, Jurassic movie that I will say I do have a fair bit of issues with. And I will get into those around now. So if you don't want to, and again, no spoilers to the issues. I'm just going to briefly talk about my feelings towards some certain things. So if you don't want to hear about certain things that may sway your decision, then go ahead and step out now and turn the episode off. Absolutely no worries at all. But I will say, I have some issues with the whole, let's talk about this first. The commandments. Okay, so I think David Koepp had talked about this in a lot of interviews and things about his commandments for Jurassic. And one of those was retcons and absolutely no retcons. This is a very, very interesting movie that I don't know. I'm not really sure how to place this movie in a lot of ways. I think there's a lot of really questionable world building stuff going on here that I am struggling with, and I'm really trying to grasp with myself. So I'm hoping to figure those out along the way, but I don't know that there's going to be any solving my issues with canonical things like that, but I don't know. I kind of just think the writing there is, I don't even know how to talk about this, but like it's I want to get into the details of spoilers and things, but the first time I saw the movie, it was a real big struggle for me, and those were the things that were kind of eating away at me for a few days before I got to see it again. And the second time I went into the movie, I knew those things would be there, and I pushed them aside and said, let me enjoy what they gave me. And that was enough, to be honest. And I think I initially gave it a 3-star rating out of 5 on Letterboxd. And then I did bump that up to a 4-star out of 5 because I think it bumped up well enough for me. And I think I figured out how to watch this movie a little bit better the second time around. So if you're big into canonical stuff and world building, you may find some issues there, but I do think there's still a very, very enjoyable movie here with some great characters, some great music, some incredible CG, really fun dinosaur sequences. And even though I do struggle with the world building stuff, the visuals of the world building and like the sets and the design of everything fantastic stuff. Like, it just all looks very good and very Jurassic. So no issues with that. It's just how things tie together at the end of the day. And to me, it didn't fully tie together in I don't even want to say the way I wanted, because I think it's the way it should tie together. So we'll talk about that stuff at a later date. But I think everybody has the chance to enjoy a really, really good movie here. And I think they did a great job. I'm really excited for the future of this movie, for everybody to see it and to get all these toys and to see what else this movie brings us. Yeah, I don't know. I'm very excited by it, and I can't wait to hear what everybody else thinks. So if you do want to get a hold of us and let us know once you've seen the movie, I know we're still putting together some other stuff, but if you want to hear yourself on the podcast telling your thoughts and feelings about the movie post watching it, let me know. Give a call, 732-825-7763. Call my voicemail line, leave a message. I will not pick up. Just give a call and let me know, did you like the movie? Did you not like the movie? Did you have issues? Did you not have issues? Whatever the case may be, let me know. You can also pick up your phone and leave a voicemail by just like recording a little voice memo app. Hit the voice memo app, record a little message, send that over to me, JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. That's Jurassic Park, POD, @gmail.com. Just go ahead and forward those over. I'll include everything in the future episodes that we put together. So thank you so much for indulging me. It's been a hard one to kind of talk about for a little bit because my stomach's been in knots over certain details and how to discuss this. I always really like to be positive about these movies, and not in like I'm just going to be positive just for the sake of being positive. I always feel really positive about these movies, and I really have. Well, except for Jurassic Park 3. That one really, made me stumble for a little bit and disappear for a few years. But like Jurassic World I was like, yeah, we got this. And I love all of those movies. And I think I'm going to get there with this one in a big way. And I'm very much looking forward to that day. So thank you so much for listening to this. Please go follow us on all the social platforms. Go to JurassicParkPodcast.com. Send us your thoughts and feelings. Everybody out there, please stay safe, be kind, and enjoy.